I mean, I don't want to overreact to one game. You know how much I love the Grizzlies. We love the Grizzlies, the official Western Conference team of brother from another, I believe, Michael. But,
That's right.
But the Wolves, in particular, this killer Anthony Edwards. I said when they had the controversy about them celebrating the play-in win, Vinny Goodwill, that it wasn't celebrating the end of something; it was celebrating the beginning of something. So now we see a playoff star being born in Anthony Edwards with those 36 points. What, if any, answers do the Grizzlies have for him? And how much of a problem is this dude about to be for the rest of the Western Conference's playoffs?
Beware, because this guy may very well be the number 3 two guard in the league next year. Like, I think he's on that high of trajectory that quickly. You see him, he's got a pro body. The game isn't too big for him. He can get any shot that he wants, and he's got the personality to be able to handle everything. Like, if you notice, this isn't something that feels like it's above his head. And I will say this, y'all, because I saw y'all with Jay Adonde, and y'all was talking about lowering of standards and everything else. I dug the Timberwolves celebrating the way that they did.
That was only him, for the record. That was him being that old man yelling at clouds. We with you. Bring on the fun. Right, Michael? We with you. Go ahead, Vinny.
That's right. Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I like that they recognize, hey, we've done something that this franchise isn't known for. And quiet as it's kept, the franchise player for that team is Anthony Edwards. No disrespect to Karl Towns, but I think it's time you start building that franchise around Anthony Edwards. And I think you have a completely different ceiling if he's your best player and he pans out the way that I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be an all-NBA player next year, provided that he stays healthy. Because I don't know, I just like the Ant-Man is just something to me, man. I enjoy watching him play. I like watching him talk. Like, he's
his
like
interviews are incredible too.
Dude, why hasn't the NBA figured out a way to put him in a campaign? I really, really wonder how the NBA can let people like Ja Morant and Anthony Edwards sort of be hiding in plain sight. And because the NBA doesn't have Nike to lean on as much anymore, I don't know if they've done as great of a job as being creative with marketing guys like this. Anthony Edwards and that bling should be on every billboard, on every side of every building around the league.
You know what I think he is? You know what I think he is? Just talking about the franchise. I like what you said about the franchise and viewing it through the prism of Edwards as your centerpiece. He's just Jimmy Butler, but younger and gets along with Cat. He's Jimmy Butler. He's the same type of killer. You know, he don't care. Like between the lines, he don't care. He will come at you. You know, he may not fight you the way Jimmy Butler would, but I wouldn't put it past Anthony Edwards.
Well, that's it. I wouldn't want to go up against him though.
He's got that mean streak that you know what I'm saying, that clashed with Cat before. You know, that Butler was like, nah, you play too much. He's playful, but when it's time to handle his business, I don't know that there's anybody that can stop this kid, Michael. Go ahead.
Well, Vinny, I want you to comment on that, and also this, that last year, I think it was Grizzlies, Jazz top seed. They lose that first game, and then the Jazz do. Then they win the next 4, I think. Is this all right, Memphis just not ready, standing flat-footed at the beginning of the series, they're going to bounce back and eliminate the Wolves, or we got a real street fight here?
Oh, I think we have a real street fight, but I don't think that Game 1 is a harbinger of how this series is going to play out. Like, when I look at Memphis, I look at them and I think they have enough equity with Desmond Bane and Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. and all those other guys. I think there's some strategic changes that they're going to make, especially with Taylor Jenkins, who I think is a really good and underrated coach. But you got to remember, they barely played the last 2 weeks of the season without Ja Morant. So there's a readjustment period, and it just so happens to be in high-stakes playoff basketball. Now, Dylan Brooks is, of course, we know, the irritant, and I'm sure he's going to try to get under Anthony Edwards' skin. But maybe that's just the guy that you're saying, you know what, we can't stop you. Maybe we'll try to stop Cat. Maybe we'll try to shut down everybody else's water and see if Anthony Edwards can score 40 points because we focus so much of our defensive attention elsewhere. And not to put anything past Anthony Edwards scoring 40 points, but if you shut down everybody else, maybe that makes Game 2 a little bit more palatable, because all of the pressure in Game 2 right now is on Memphis. And if you look at that kid, so big, so strong, so quick, you're not stopping him. You're not stopping him from getting to where he wants to go. From Smith, for your first question, what adjustments do they make? you really don't make an adjustment with a guy with that much talent. What you try to do is just make him think a little bit more. You maybe throw the shifting coverages. You maybe try to throw the playoff gauntlet at him. But honestly, y'all, I think we are watching a changing of the guard in terms of NBA playoff stars right before our eyes. Game ones across the board seemed like it opened a lot of different eyes, especially mine across the league.
Well, let's go to Poole in Golden State. You said this wasn't necessarily a harbinger of things to come for the Grizzlies-Wolves series. Felt like a harbinger of things to come for the Nuggets-Warriors series. They played like that new Death Star, that upgraded Death Star lineup with Wiggins and Poole and Draymond and Clay and Steph, now that he's back, played like 5 minutes, and it was 20-6 in 5 minutes or something like that. It looks like the Nuggets have no answers. My question, I know Michael has got the Suns by a mile in the Western Conference as well as these playoffs, but if that's what we're getting from the Warriors, who's dealing with that?
Well, my biggest question about Golden State is going to be a question, even if they play Phoenix, it's going to be their size. You know, the biggest thing that they had when they had Kevin Durant was that you could slide KD to 5 and you could play Draymond there and everything else. You don't have that. You don't have that size there anymore. You got a bunch of 6'8" guys who can swing and interchangeable and everything else. And you're right. I think this series, I won't say it's going to be academic, but when you're playing pickup and you've got Denver's roster and you've got Golden State's roster, and we're just playing 8 guys, how many Golden State players are you picking after you pick Nikola Jokic before you get to the next Nuggets player? You know what I mean? Like, I think it's that wide of a talent gap if we're playing that game. And not to say that Jokic can't pull a game out of his behind, because I do believe the best player can get you one. But what happens when that one game is Steph's explosion game? What happens when that one game is Clay's explosion game? And if you're spinning it forward, that's the concern when you're looking at a Phoenix series, is that Steph can get you a game. Clay can get you a game. And even if Chris Paul can get you a game like he got you last night, is his explosion the same as Steph or Clay's? So if you're looking at it from a Golden State point of view, I think I give them more than a decent shot to make this a series. I think a lot of people think Phoenix is just going to run roughshod through the Western Conference. And with Luka's injury in Dallas, I think there's a greater chance of that. But I would not discount Golden State, not at this point.
All right, and let's follow up on that, because I was going to ask about Chris Paul and what he did last night, and kept looking over at Willie Green like, hey, Willie, you play with me, man. You really gonna let me take these threes? And he hit 3 in a row, and then the game was over. But beyond that performance, I mean, we've seen Chris Paul do this before. I just want you to kind of build on what you're saying there. Tough matchup for Phoenix would be Golden State, and it's just because of the roster, the way they play. Like, why would that be a difficult matchup for the Suns?
I think it'll be the most difficult matchup in the West when you consider the experience, when you consider the star power, when you consider the fact that nobody on Golden State is going to be scared of the Phoenix Suns. Like, I think in some cases, you walk into an arena.
Told you.
Right. You walk into an arena down 15.
Goodwill podcast.
There you go. Not a podcast VFX. No, there you go. There you go. Yeah. And as a side note, I won't tell y'all who created the term death lineup in 2015, but I'll give you a hint that it wasn't either one of you. That's all I'll say. I won't tell you who created it. I'll just say it wasn't either one of you, but it was somebody on this here 3 box.
On this panel?
Just say,
so wait, so hold on. Don't lose your thought about the Warriors-Suns matchup, but just to recap, you created death lineup and brought back the old school final script. We ain't even talked to you since that celebration. Congratulations on your contribution to society. So I know you guys were jumping on the table like Patrick Beverly the other day. We didn't get a chance to congratulate you. But you were saying, great, Death Star in that, you could retire. You were saying, though, go to state.
The death lineup thing. I kind of created that by happenstance. Didn't even realize that I did until somebody told me, that was you. That is one of those. So I didn't file a trademark. I wish I had. I'd probably be rich right now. You know what I mean? But to your larger point, though, I don't say I have questions about Phoenix, because I think Phoenix plays truer to their character than anybody else in the league. But I wonder how high their elevator goes. You know what I mean? Like, if everybody's playing their best, if they're taking everybody's best shot, if you're taking Golden State's best shot, and that means that Steph is hitting 35 or 40 points. How are you going to counter that with just your steadiness? What happens when it requires that Devin Booker plays his best game and Chris Paul plays his best game? And I know, Michael Smith, you don't like me saying this, but what happens with Chris Paul every spring and summer?
I mean, okay, man.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
Talk about injuries.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah, it's here's the thing. It's not shade. I'm just saying that it's something that's happened more frequently than not. And he's had a lot of bad luck through his career. But the older you get, you don't get healthier. And not to say that you bank or you count on that, but if we're trying to project what it's going to look like in May and June, we can't discount. That's almost like Anthony Davis. Yeah, Anthony Davis is going to play a full 82 games. When, where, who? You have to almost similarly ask that question about a guy like Chris Paul, as dangerous as he is, as historic of a point guard as he is.
So, check it. Before we get you out of here to go give the rest of your Easter Sunday sermon, you look really good, though, seriously. What game you going to? You said you're going to the arena. What game you going to tonight? Where are you?
Philly-Toronto game 2, where, of course, Philly fans are always mad at me for one reason or another.
Why? Why they mad at you now? I wasn't going to ask you about that. Why they mad at you now? What you do?
They're mad because they don't read. That's all. They're mad because they don't read. They mad
because you say stuff like they don't read.
I was going to say, wow, what a big statement.
I didn't say
they mad because they don't read.
What did you write that they didn't read? Okay.
I didn't say they couldn't read.
They just
I said
not to.
They don't read.
What did you write or tweet that they didn't read and comprehend and process?
Well, there were two things, and Philly fans, for Philly fans to be so tough, they real sensitive. There was a moment where they brought a fan out there and during one of the timeouts to make a free throw and a three-pointer. He was going to get courtside seats. You know, regular Joe Schmo, right? He doesn't hit I think he hit one free throw, but he didn't hit a three-pointer. And they booed him like it was showtime at the Apollo. Like they could have brought their asses out there and hit a three-pointer and a free throw. I won't say it was I won't say classless, and I just thought it was funny. So when I tweeted it, they got all sensitive and then their feelings. So I felt like it was in the middle of a Drake song on Saturday with the way that my mentions was blown up.
Okay, all right.
And Michael Smith, I've written that, you know, James Harden, people call James Harden the dribbler. I called him the spectator because he did not get in the way of Tyrese Maxey scoring 38 points the other night. He set him up. He didn't try to, you know what I mean? But they looked at it and said, you called him the spectator. What are you saying? He had 14 assists.
I'm saying
I was giving him a compliment.
Give him credit.
Fool.
Yeah.
But they don't
got to
read.
Get out the way. Well,
they don't read.
I could appreciate that. I also think that it's some Detroit Philly thing going on. Like, you know, y'all ain't tough. I'm from Detroit. Like, I get it. That's okay. But before we let you go, though, we gotta get you out of here.
Motown Philly. Come on.
The finalists came out for MVP, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year. Would you mind indulging? Because I think the last time we talked to you about these major awards, you had not had to cast your ballot. It went down to the wire. So you're gonna wait till the last possible second. Was it that day? That Friday?
It was that day.
So how'd you?
Yep.
And just the major ones, just MVP, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, even Coach of the Year, if you want to throw that in real quick. How did you end up voting? If you could share.
I'll say this. I did not vote for the player who's going to wind up winning the MVP. I did vote for the coach that I think is going to win Coach of the Year. Not sure about Rookie of the Year because that can go a million different ways, and my criteria for Rookie of the Year was a little bit different. But yeah, and I'm being a little cryptic. But I think for most improved, I think I picked Tyrese Maxey, which doesn't make a lot of sense considering I hate everything Philly, right? You know, that's Philly thinks I hate everything.
What about Defensive Player of the Year? Because Rudy Gobert said if it was anybody else had my season not named Rudy Gobert, they'd be Defensive Player of the Year. Who'd you vote for there?
I think I voted for Marcus Smart. And even though he got ripped a new one by Kyrie Irving yesterday, ripped an entirely new one, I think Marcus Smart was a catalyst for something in Boston. I think that's going to be something that's sustainable for this playoff run at least.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to let you go off that. But so you're not going to tell us, so you voted for you did not vote for the person who you thought
MVP?
You think is going to get
Embiid
it.
Or Giannis?
So,
Embiid
no,
or
I think he voted for Giannis. I think he voted for Giannis. I think he voted for the best player in the NBA that he knows, because we talked about it. The buildup was there, right, Vinny? Am I right? You voted for Giannis?
You are using a correct logic. I'll say that. You're using the correct logic.
The guy that knows will be there.
Here's my thing.
You don't want a guy that's gonna get his MVP and be going after the first round the way Nikola Jokic is about to be. Is that right?
And not just that. I need to vote for a guy. Historically, the MVP has always been a player on a team of consequence.
Okay.
It has to be on a team of consequence.
You are clearly a journalist of consequence, Mr. Death Star and Finals.
Final script, baby. We are back.
Enjoy the game. Tell Philly we said what up.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.